Joe Budden exposes Flip for being lazy, and Ian calls him out for his lack of accountability.
You, much like me, are called upon to be a master of ceremony. And that's where your whole crew comes in with all you and all that you do. And you have a gift in your master of ceremony skills. But then sometimes the master of ceremony has to come out and be the master of the ceremony. Like, gotta really show why he's him. You get into this because you scared of success. You get into this shell where anything that could help you be successful, you rather not do it and lean on all of the ceremonies, people. Your face is on the billboard. We looking at you, not none of these up. And if the show is bad, just like the pod is bad, know who it fall on when the pod is bad? They'll never come say y'all trash. It fall on me.
Joe, how you telling my man Ian to change the name when you backed out the first place? Hey, don't be
Ian, why you
telling
keep?
me.
Why does he keep saying I backed out of something that's his?
Because he needs a crutch, buddy.
Yeah, like
He
do it.
needs to use you as a crutch
I don't
because
need. I don't need no. I don't. Well, y'all can say that, but listen. At the end of the day, if things don't go well the next time, if things don't go the way it's supposed to go, watch what I'm gonna do.
yo,
Since we
But
yo,
playing
Flip,
around,
stop
they
since
dumping
have
I
my
to
need a
man
go
too,
crutch.
yo.
well
Stop
Hold on,
stop
hold on,
because
hold
stop
on.
dumping
you're.
my nigga too, yo.
Since I need a crutch, watch what I do.
But that's true. I don't care about that. I get to
Don't
the
try to get
pod.
your niggas out of it.
I
Don't do
get
that, bro.
I get to the pod early, like before anybody, like as in the first one there, even before Erickson, to get my mind right. I don't care what's in play.
True.
I come there so my brain could be right no matter what goes on today. That's
Okay.
all.
That's right. Yesterday was an interesting day for the Joe Budden podcast, as all parties would go on spaces to air out some of the bad things going on at the network. And those bad things primarily were the premiere of Improper Improv. Improper Improv is, the new show that Flip is bringing back. It's basically a new show, even though it's season 2. It's been an 18-month break, so it's not really the same show anymore, I think. I think this is Flip's Improv. But what is key here is that Joe told Flip, dog, you being lazy, bro. You arrived late to the taping of your own show. You arrived 30 minutes before the taping of the show. So to me, Flip was about an hour and a half late. He should have been there at 1 o'clock. Instead, he arrived around 2:30, and as a result, you saw what happened. But then a little bit later, Ian Schwartzman joins, and he calls out Flip for his lack of accountability, basically saying, yo, man, like, you need a crutch sometimes. Like, things went bad, so now you're trying to blame Joe for not showing up when you were the one who decided that you didn't want Joe around. And one thing I noticed is that Ian Schwartzman has a newsletter. And in that newsletter, he highlighted how control is earned. And I want you to read what Ian said. Happy Monday. We often find ourselves saying we need to do things our way to succeed, attributing a lack of control to why our efforts aren't yielding the results we expect. As we pursue our goals, control becomes a focus. We think that we want it and believe that once we have it, we can accomplish anything. It's easy to point out the missteps of those in control, but harder to understand the tough decisions they make to stay there. Many people see control as something to be taken, but the truth is, control that's taken is often fleeting. Control that's earned, however, brings a different level of respect, confidence from the team, and longevity built on experience. Instead of chasing control, focus on making the right decisions within the control you already have. Those seemingly small choices reveal what you do when faced with bigger challenges. Now, this, even though it may not be directly about Flip, you can kind of use it to read what Flip has done. He spent more time trying to fight for the control as opposed to making the little decisions that would give him the control anyway, right? Instead of doing Improper Improv, he went on a self-imposed break just to show the value of it. So yesterday was a big moment, I think, for the Joe Budden podcast, as they laid all of everything on the table. And this is a bad position for Flip, because if Improper Improv isn't performing well, and by performing well, I don't just mean numbers, I mean it's up to the standard, it's up to the level of execution. Joe Budden don't care about the numbers like that. He wants it to be held to the same standard as the Joe Budden podcast. And I'm sure when he was watching that, he saw that, I can't believe this is on my network. Joe Budden and let's say Adam 22. Adam 22 is pretty unapologetic about getting views. He'll say, I need the views. Joe, he's not always about the views. Yes, it matters to him because who's on YouTube not to get views? But he also wants to adhere to a certain standard of what he sees as far as creative integrity. And Improper Improv episode 1 of season 2 did not meet that. And I also wanted to end this video by going and breaking down what Flip said and Ian said about me appearing on an episode of Improper Improv. Now, I would say appearing on an episode of Improper Improv, I've always been cautious of appearing on something I don't feel doesn't make sense. Like, many accuse me of clout chasing because of appearing on Adam 22, but the reason I appeared on No Jumper was because I felt like he would let me speak. He wouldn't cut me off, because there's a big disconnect between the Adam 22 you see maybe when he's doing, like, you know, some of the bits he does and who he is as an interviewer. Adam's a great interviewer to me. He's going to let you articulate your point. He's also going to add on to your points, which is why I decided to go on No Jumper. Now, with Flip, I feel like you have the opposite end of the spectrum. If he doesn't like you, he's not necessarily going to put that to the side. And he's going to seek to embarrass you, might throw water in your face, might try to undermine your value. So obviously, that is a cautious type of agreement that would have to be analyzed and thought of before it ever happens. Now, I don't know. Anything could happen, but the way Flip has treated me,
I will slap fire out that.
Ian,
Bring him.
Ian, y'all gotta stop
I
playing.
will slap the out of that.
Stop now. Just stop.
I will slap that. I will pretend. Oh, hey, how you doing? Because you know why?
Danny should be on episode 2.
I don't necessarily think it's the best thing, considering he says he's going to slap me. So I think you have to be cautious of the spaces you enter. And I don't think Joe or Ian would ever enter a space or an interview and someone saying they're going to slap them. It's not professional. And even if it's COE, it's still not something you should take a gamble on, right? I like to be strategic. I like to be careful. I like to be cautious. And I don't know. Flip got to shape up. He got to do better than that. If he is throwing that out there, it's just a bad thing to throw. It's okay if you don't want me on the show, but I feel like Flip, what he does is he looks for reasons to feel disrespected when he doesn't like the overarching goal of your message. And I've often said that the reason Flip turned on me was because when I initially saw Flip arrive, I thought that he was great on the show. And then there was an episode where Joe sent all of the members home, but Flip and Joe would later do a live.
I had a really long work week.
Yeah, I think you did. You overworked yourself, man. You know, I had to pull Joe outside and talk to him as the boss.
And in that live, Flip seemed like he was trying to cozy up to Joe, and I thought he was brown nosing, and that immediately turned Flip off when it came to me, because I sincerely believe, like many members of the show believe, that they think that they made me. I mean, Ice has echoed these sentiments, and Flip has echoed these sentiments, because Flip was the one that got them to say me by name. But I do remember them mentioning me before.
Wow, yo. No. The rise and fall of the Joe Budden podcast that was born after the rise and fall of the old. Whatever.
Before.
You ain't about to get no exclusive for the stop. You ain't.
Oh, shit, Rory is here.
You ain't about to get no exclusive for the stop. You ain't trustworthy.
And I'm just saying, like, if they made me or not, that's up to the person who watches the content. right? There's a million different answers to that based on the perspective. I can only speak from my perspective, and I don't think nobody made me. Like, I have to make the content. I have to actually put the effort. I remember being that person making comments in the YouTube section or making comments on Reddit, and I started to make content instead of comments. And there's nothing wrong with just making comments and content, but there is a different type of work when you're starting to upload weekly, when you're starting to upload 5-10 times a week. And that's what I often say when I'm saying nobody made me. Even if I talk about the Joe Budden podcast, nobody literally made me post the content. I had to do it. I had to stomach through people thinking it was weird. I had to stomach through people taking shots at me or inferring certain things about my character. That's something Joe couldn't make me do. That's something Rory couldn't make me do. That's something Flip couldn't make me do. So I just wanted to put my commentary on that. I'm not going back and forth with Flip because that's often what Flip does. I'm taking a different tone. I'm just analyzing his comments and giving you my insight, because often when things go bad for Flip, what he does is he sets his sight on other targets. So like, he'll attack me, he'll attack man in the car, as opposed to looking in the mirror and thinking about what he did wrong. And he uses this channel and the platforms that talk about the Joe Budden podcast as a way of negotiation with Joe. He uses the talking points I use to usher in talking points with Joe or Ian. Oh, yo, that thing Danny said was crazy. I can't believe he said that. What do you think? That's kind of what he does. And I know you're going to say, oh, Danny, you bugging. You don't have this much sway in things. I'm not saying I have sway in things, but I do know that this is a tactic that Flip uses. All right, y'all, but let me know what you think about this. Do you feel like Joe and Ian are getting a bit fed up with the way Flip is approaching Improper Improv now that his vision has been realized and it's not the cleanest vision and it doesn't align with Joe and Ian? All right, y'all, follow me on Instagram, The Stop TV. Follow me on Twitter, The Stop TV. I'll be on Spaces a little bit later, so follow me on Twitter because that's where it goes down. This is Danny from The Stop. Peace.